Good evening and welcome to Just a Gi Top episode number 68. We've been on a hiatus since June and we took some time off. I think it's fair to say that Dominica Obelente ended our podcast run there. But of course, we're just joking. We took some time off. It was the summertime and then some. I mean, we're almost in winter, but forgive us. Of course, you see it's just me today. Of course, with VJ Hemenshaw, the legend, the Jaguar. And so right now, what we're going to do is it's kind of like a Barbara Walters style, where it's just me with the Jag, and we're just going to bounce off each other, just going to catch up a little bit on with each other, how he's been doing, his amazing ranking right now, local scene and abroad, international. Everything that's going on, so Jag, right now, you know what? Introduce us right now for those who don't know you. Introduce those
yes.
who, yes, please.
Well, VJ Himanchal, I'm a purple belt, currently the number 2 ranked Masters 3 in the world. Small place. It's just an honor to be on, man. I mean, we guys haven't been on since June, right?
Yes,
So
it's
it's been a
been since.
while. I feel
Yes,
like Mr.
yes.
Wolf from Pulp Fiction coming in to clean up the aftermath here.
Well,
But
though, that's the thing is like we kind of fell out of love with the podcast, and I think it was because we weren't seeing anything from it. We get a lot of letters, and God bless all of you guys who write us and you say you miss us, and man, our YouTube page is still getting a lot of subscribers, and we're not putting any content out, so thank you very much. But VJ, it is a lot of work to do it. It's an hour a week. No, I'm just joking. It's a little bit more than that. But hopefully maybe a little collabo with some of our guests like yourself. Maybe it's a regular thing. Well, we'll see. We'll see where it goes.
well, I appreciate what you guys are doing because it's similar to myself. You're just trying to give people a platform. You're
Yes,
trying to give
yes.
BJJers, a platform to advertise their wares. Half of them don't even show up. So I can understand your frustration. I mean, you just want to help people.
Yeah, and we have had that in the past. We've had people not show up, but we've also had, a lot of good guys who've come on, and we did want to put an episode out there to put over certain guests and throw some under the bus as well. But we've had some really good guests and some really bad ones. But anyway, needless to say, VJ, you are the number 2 Ultra Master 3 purple,
Yeah,
right?
sadly, I couldn't make Worlds this year. My surgeon kind of messed me up on my dates, so I'm number 2 right now, but I should get it back. We have a lot of tournaments coming up. We got Montreal and New York Pro, so hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll get that number 1 ranking back, and the world will be back in order.
Is it true, VJ, that the current ultra heavyweight world champion, did you face him?
I believe I went to Santa Cruz on a red eye on a Friday, no coach, stuck in terrible traffic. I think he had Ralph Gracie in his corner, and I can't remember who beat who, but if I have to check the pictures, I think somebody came out on top in that match, with no
So,
coach, by the way. But
so are you cutting a promo on this guy right now? Like, would you like to face him again, or?
well, he actually trains with your brother, I believe, once in a while.
Right. Yes, he does.
And when Ramy came for Toronto, I thought he for sure would have given Ramy my medal, so I was a bit disappointed. But I mean, if he wants to rock around with the de facto world championship, so I'm the people's champ. That's basically what it comes down to.
VJ, but I gotta say, like, how do you do it though? Because, like you said, you do these, like, so for those who don't know, VJ always is goading me into competing as much as he can. I can't do it, but he'll say, take a red eye, or let's drive at midnight, and I'm like, well, VJ, my division's at 9. He's like, yeah, we'll get there before 9. Like, I just don't know how you do it. How do you grind like that? Is that an amateur wrestling thing? Is that
It's just no excuses, man. You just gotta want it. Like I think we have a modern flow this weekend. I think a few of us are probably gonna leave at probably 4 or 5 in the morning. Try to get there for 9, whenever the start time is, and just rock it, man. That's what we're here to do.
Okay, so again, so you beat the current world champion on pretty much no sleep.
I guess define beat. I mean, I was kind of drowning him in my side control, but I mean, yeah, I guess that's a beat. No, but he's a very tough competitor, very game, and I mean, it was a good match, and I look forward to facing him again.
VJ, if I may, was that the same podium where there was a guy on roller skates?
I believe so. Long story short, I think that was his legal wheelchair. Kind of a weird match because he limped onto the mat, and
Yeah.
I thought for sure he'd pull, but he like did a lot of stand up, so it's kind of weird. But I believe it was his legal wheelchair. But you get all kinds in BJJ, especially Santa Cruz. So there you go.
Okay. But hey, respect to that guy for competing. He competes a lot more than most people that we know.
And to be totally truth, purple belt's a grind. Like I wasn't able to get a free absolute brown like you did in Toronto. I'm just waiting for those days I can get a free absolute gold medal, but maybe one day.
Okay,
Can you
so
comment on that brown belt Masters experience at the Toronto Open?
yeah, so I'll never do that one. I wouldn't say I won't do it again, but I'll be wary of the competitors list. So here's the thing. I had one guy in my division, and I forget his name, but I'd like to thank him for coming because he came from Florida. So at least I had an opponent. But we also had another gentleman who was in my absolute division. And so I'm like, okay, you know what? I can have one match guaranteed in my division, and then I can have another two if they both went to absolute, right? So I'm like, 3 matches, that's nice. You don't get that every day. So
Yeah, he was alone in his super too, right? He had no other competitors.
he had no other competitors. So me and my guy in my weight class and the super heavyweight guy were all sitting there waiting to weigh in. And I talked to him. I introduced myself. Hey, how's it going? Good luck. This is great. Nice to meet you. I don't care. It's Masters, so I don't give a shit, right? And he's like, yeah, I won't be here. I'm like, wait a minute. What do you mean? Like, what do you mean you're not going to be here? And he's like, I'm going to go. But he weighed in. He had his gi on, and he weighed in. And they called me on the mat. And so I'm going to my match, and I'm looking at him like, what? And they're like, Ahmed, over here. I'm like, oh, okay. So I go, and when I'm on the mat ready to face my opponent, I see him walking, like he's like packing up. He's leaving. Like, it was the weirdest thing. And so, yeah, long story short, I got a free, what is it? How many points is that?
40 and a half in absolute.
Yeah.
I think Gringo pulled that off too. So it's a good gimmick you guys have. I mean, some of us have to grind and actually beat people.
That wasn't, that wasn't my choice, man. I wanted to face him, but he disappeared, and I'm sure maybe he had a good reason. I'm not going to say anything else. Maybe an emergency happened, but yeah, so that was the Toronto Open. Now, the Toronto Open IBJJF, for those who don't know, is not really attended well. This is a shame because I had a good time. Like, I really did. But how many competitors were there? Like 150?
I would say maybe a bit over 2 in the end.
2?
But I mean,
okay.
4 years now, I've been to every one. Always a long weekend. It's just the tournament's never been given a chance to succeed, and plus the price point. I mean, you can afford it, but the average wage there, I mean, that's like a week's wages, right? So it's very hard for a lot of them to compete in that tournament.
Yeah, well, I mean, but you know what? Let's not just pick on Toronto here. You also have Montreal that is coming up to a week from Saturday, and the numbers there don't look good either. So, and that's not a long weekend.
Yeah, but I mean, it's early, and there might be a big rush of a lot of Montreal competitors, but hopefully that's the case. You are doing Montreal, or you are not? No,
I don't know yet. I'll let you know on that for sure.
I see a lot of middle adults if that's what you're looking to get into.
Hey, I'll get into anything. The way I look at it, BJ, I'm like you. I got nothing to lose. I'm 37. Actually, I'm 38 in January. And if I get out there and sneak a win past some of these younger guys, why not? But yeah. So you know what? Just that we're talking about brown belts right now, VJ. What's the current state in Ontario in brown belts? It seems like you're the only one who doesn't have one.
Well, what's odd about it is it'll be 2 years. The Montreal Open will be 2 years. Been a purple belt. I think I've done 35, 40 tournaments, which is a lot. I mean, I'm not expecting that from everyone. But you see guys with don't compete in a year and a half purple belts and they're getting their brown belts. I'm not sure what's going on. I mean, it's an art, right? So I don't know how these guys are getting their brown belts in a year and a half.
Well, yeah.
Insight there.
No, and I agree. I have seen that. I've seen people getting their brown belts in about a year and a half and whatnot, but not winning. I mean, you'd understand if they're winning worlds or pans or something.
Now, I get there's a special promotion, like open your own school, get a brown belt. Okay, I get that. Open a clothing line, maybe you'll get a brown belt. I don't know. All of us can't open a school or run a clothing line, but I guess that's how brown belts are being divvied out these days.
Well, I think you and we had a good conversation offline, and the panel, not the panel, there's no panel here, but maybe some of the public might agree or disagree. But do you feel that for brown belts, and maybe especially black belt, there should be a committee that's
7-man panel, maybe 5 of the 7 can have to say yes. But for sure, I mean, brown belt's a pretty serious deal. Like, I mean, I've been kind of lobbying a bit for my brown, but it's just because I compete a lot and I do well for my bracket. But art-wise, I don't know a lot, so I'm not. It's kind of a weird call with me, but brown's a serious deal, and I think it shouldn't be taken lightly for sure.
So what is it then with brown belts locally or even abroad? Why do they, why does the competition numbers dwindle? Like I noticed I've only done 2 brown belt tournaments since I got my brown about 5 months ago, but it was like, it's obviously poorly attended. Well, why is that in your opinion?
I think it's like that Chris Houther guy says. I mean, it's not who's good, it's who's left. Right? I mean, it's attrition to get to that level, right? I mean, a lot of people get smashed to purple and then just, hey, man, jiu-jitsu's not for me. I can't make a full time out of this. I mean, you have to be really persistent. It's hard. It's a grind, right? So, I mean, the numbers are going to dwindle. I mean, I look at my listing, like for Masters 3 Brown, it's pretty much empty. Like, I feel it. I'd probably be better off at Brown, like just ranking wise. I'd have less fights, as sad as that is.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, actually that reminds me. That's what was it? Oh man, I lost my train of thought. But in regards to brown belts, dropping off and not facing, but it's the purple belt is that full-time belt. And I've said this before and I'll say it again. Purple belt is probably the toughest. It's the toughest belt, absolutely, to compete in. There's so many guys there, so many guys who are at it many hours a day. What happens though is once brown happens, you're right. It's like, shit, what the fuck do I got now? You know what I mean? Like, and they drop off, and I've seen it. I've seen guys just go get regular jobs and shit, and they'll train, but they don't compete anymore. It's like, oh, I work now and I can't do it anymore. It's like, man, I've been working since the beginning. Like, it's not that hard to balance it, but if that's what you did nonstop for 6 years or whatever it is they've been hustling at it for, it's got to be tough, man.
And you find too, like I find a brown belt, like the really good brown belts are only there for a year, and then they get black, right? Which also lessens the pool of the number of people that are brown belts, right? Like you see a lot of guys like Keenan, Paulo, I think Michael Lera, like a lot of guys that are really good at brown, they get their black right away. So they're not at brown for like the 2-3 years you would be at purple, right?
Actually, yeah, no, that is a very good point. But are there any browns here locally you think that that compete very well? We have some really good ones here.
I mean, Dynas has done very well. John Tane, Darson, a lot of the Toronto BJJ guys. I think there'll be a lot of them bumped up too, actually. So I think there'll be a lot more brown belts locally. But I find, like, for example, at our Peterborough Classic coming up at the end of the month,
Yeah,
in December, that'd be our provincials, yes?
the provincials, yes.
Yeah, so they combine brown and black. I think that's what they're doing, right?
Well, they do that for every local tournament, actually. Provincials, Ontario Open.
Yeah, so that's not
mostly.
not really a great incentive for brown belts, I find, because why should browns be fighting blacks? They don't in IBJJF, so I'm not sure why they're combining it at OJA level.
Well, I mean, let's be honest, VJ. I think at Ontario Open, and I'm going to speak just for the Masters section, we had one black belt. That was it. And if correct me if I'm wrong, but in the adult division, I think Amir was the only black belt who competed as well. I mean, you're talking really slim. I mean, a lot of tournaments do purple, brown, and black together.
Oh, that'd be frightful.
Well, it's just saying, like, if we can't, yeah, you have to remember, guys, like as much as Ontario scene, they think that they're big. You're really not. You're really small, and our talent pool it's big, but I don't know. It's really small too. Like I said, black belts. How many active black belt competitors, adult even? Let's just say adult, do we have? I mean, hell, the one who competes a lot is Amir. I think he's 34.
Yeah, he's getting up there. But you look at the Toronto Open, like just not among the competitors, but just who's in the crowd in terms of black belts. It's not a lot. You'll do a New York Open, you'll see every big name black belt in the crowd. It's just a bigger scene, obviously, right? New York's a much more bigger population, so we have a ways to go yet, I think, to catch up to some of the bigger U.S. cities. Black belt participation, that type of thing.
I think once you hit brown or black, honestly, locally here, you should just not compete locally. You should just focus on the big tournaments or go to the States, New York, Chicago, Boston. There's no real incentive, man. There's no point. But anyway, but yeah, actually, speaking of the Toronto Open, VJ, how did you do? Because we didn't really get into that.
How did I do? Oh, so it's actually a bit weird. Something I actually want to run your opinion on. So I used to be part of a bigger team, and there's a rule where only 2 people can do the absolutes.
Yep.
So I signed up for Masters 3. There's only 4 of us, and then the coach of said team moved people around, so I had no division. And then I was moved to a division that I never fight, Masters 1. So, if I'm paying 115 US or whatever it was, I think I have the right to fight my division. So what I ended up doing was I switched to BJJ Globetrotters. I ended up fighting adult, which I don't usually like doing. So I ended up coming second in adult. I lost to a very good BTT competitor, and then got stretched out by Crimus like the rest of us did in the absolute. But
too bad Rami is not here. But
just the fact that I had to switch teams to even fight an adult, because had I stayed with that big team, I would have never been picked for the absolute, obviously, because I'm not one of the top adult guys. So I just find it's a bit weird when you're paying your money that you have a coach kind of tell you where and when you can fight. So I don't really, I don't really appreciate that. So, but I find kind of a way to circumvent that for sure.
And what is that?
Well, I'm now a BJJ Globetrotter, which is kind of fitting, actually, all the teams I've been on.
But but you know though, when you do get a brown, your BJJ Globetrotter is not really going to cut it because you need somebody to sign for it. So what's your plan then?
Well, I just go day to day. I mean, if I'm another year at purple, that's fine. I mean, brown, black, purple, green, I'll compete the same number of times a year. So I mean, to me, it doesn't really matter.
Okay. Now, did you get any heat for doing that? Like, I know some people might be listening saying, "Man, if you just chose a different school to represent at a tournament, I mean, maybe some people would take offense to that." Did you feel any of that heat at all?
I didn't, but in the end, I mean, similar to yourself, no one pays our bills. We're doing this out of love of the game. I mean, if I pay my money, I want to fight what division I want, and that's basically what it comes down to. I mean, I can get where like coaches like sending guys other places or paying, sponsoring them is a different story, but no one's doing that for us, right?
No, no, absolutely no. But it's funny on the Berimbolo Facebook page, it was brought up. Your situation was brought
Yes,
up, and
yes.
and actually, a lot of people thought that you were in the wrong.
Well, there are a lot of sheep out there.
So,
Unionized brainwashed people, right? So
so, so,
they're not entrepreneurs, put it that way.
so, would you say that it's because you're in a high tax bracket that they don't understand? Like is that?
Well, I mean, they go to work, they punch a clock, they're being told when to eat lunch, when to leave. So I mean, they're not free thinkers, right?
Yeah, I'm not even really sure what to say to say about that, but
But I've always wondered why with the IBJF, why do only two people are allowed? Like if you remember, I think Cabrina had to fight Johnny Grippo at the Worlds, and
yes,
Grippo's laid down, right? Like
that's
I don't get
true.
if a team is good enough to have four people in the absolute, why not?
I think it's just to avoid the closeouts, right? Because then you're going to have potentially you could have a first, second, third
Yeah,
closeout, and we've seen that, VJ.
yeah. Yes, we have. It was
We
on our
have,
watch. Yes, we did see that.
yeah, we have seen that. So they want to avoid that, and rightfully so. I guess I understand. And I believe even is it the pro trial? No, pro trials doesn't allow you to close out. I believe you have to face each other no matter
Yeah,
what.
you have to face yourself face early. I think at ADCC maybe. There's a tournament where the guys teammates face each other first to avoid all this stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough. But yeah, no. So like I said, that's the whole Globetrotter thing. VJ, are you doing your grading at the end of this year?
I will be there, yes. So I think the end of the year we have Modern Flow coming up, Montreal, New York Pro, then Provincials, and then gonna see about doing Euros. Depends on my surgery gets, but hopefully I can be at Euros. And I understand you're contemplating Euros.
I am definitely. You know what? If I'm healthy, I will be at the Euros. Yes, I will for sure. I would like to do adult, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to rebrand myself now. I'm trying to change the image a bit. Rami really motivated me. For those who don't know, Rami came to Toronto for the Toronto Open, which was October 10, I believe. And Rami's been doing really well. Like he trains. What's funny? Rami doesn't even really train that hard. Like he puts in 3 days a week of jiu-jitsu, but he lifts a lot, right? So he probably lifts more than he trains in jiu-jitsu. So he came over and he's just like a meat stick. Like he's looking pretty good. So he took first at the Toronto Open, and it was really well done. He went 1-1 in the absolute, but he just motivated me because it's like I kept saying like, oh yeah, I'm doing masters. I'm 37. I should do that, and I don't train as much as the other guys. And he's like, yeah, I don't either. He's like,
Mm.
who cares? And I don't know, BJ. Do you think not competing? Sorry, not training 6-7 days a week. Like, does that put you at a disadvantage? Because I'm starting to think it doesn't anymore.
Like I said, I don't train a lot, but I find the only thing that helped me to be where I am ranked is just grappling industries. They've given me a platform. I get 10 matches.
I don't know how this turned into a plug for that,
No, I'm
but
just saying because when you have a tournament that gives you 10 matches minimum, I mean, you can only help getting better. So that's like fitting in 2 months worth of training. So I'm lucky to have such a great tournament so close to us.
Okay, but I am just back to Rami. Rami doesn't compete at Grappling Industries, and he doesn't actually. He competes is like 3-4 times a year maximum. Like he doesn't really compete very often. He does Pans, Worlds, Toronto Open, and I think the SF Open. I think that's about it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, he
So
does very well. It's very great to see him for sure.
yeah, I mean, I just want to get more into that mentality. Like you like I'm putting him over a little bit here just because he's not here, but you have a guy who does really well in his career. I mean, I'm not going to say how much he makes, but he makes a lot of money, and he's doing it in US dollars. Trains, like I said, doesn't train that much.
Oh
But yeah,
shoot!
he can.
So he could have picked me up in San Fran when I did the San Fran Open.
He
That's a bit
could have.
hurtful now, actually. Okay. Anyways,
Yeah, I
go
don't know what. I don't know why he. Yeah, I don't know why he avoided you that day. But you know, Rami, when he competes, he's a different man. Like he doesn't really talk much. He's when he comes, like he doesn't like to be told anything. If you tell him who's in the brackets, he gets mad. If you tell him who he's got first, he gets even more upset. He's like, I don't want to know that. He goes, they're all going to go down. I'm going to beat them all. He doesn't care who it is, but he doesn't want to be told. So he's got the great gimmick, like, you know, so, but anyway, so like I said, he really motivated me. Yeah. He's younger than me by 12 years, but I feel that he gave me that push to say, you know what, no, let's do adult, let's go. And you lose, but that's not what I plan to do. But yeah, so I do plan to do the Europeans there. Vijay, just one other thing really quickly here, with the tournament scene here, and we brought this up in other podcasts. Why do we have so many tournaments and so few competitors?
You can argue it's getting a touch saturated for sure. But I think some of the weaker tournaments are getting weeded out. Like, what's that one tournament? Was it Seven Deadly Sins? I can't keep track.
What?
It's like a number, 4, 6.
Oh, 5?
Oh, right. I mean, so you have some tournaments that come and, you know, they're a touch overpriced and they didn't do well. Toronto IBJJF, again, with the price point, didn't do well. So, I mean, when there's a lot of tournaments, I mean, it's a bit oversaturated, but then the ones that don't do well, you know, get weeded out. But what I find out, what do you think? But I think a lot of seminars are being held on the same days as tournaments. So I'm not sure, you know, how that helps the scene at all.
I don't think I mean, I saw that and I know what you're talking about. So for those who don't know, and I don't want to mention anything or anybody, but there's the tournament, let's say this Saturday, and then there's a seminar maybe that weekend too, right? So, you know, the promoters might get upset saying, hey, look, I booked this day. Why are you guys setting up the seminar? And then you know, maybe they're rightfully so say, hey, well, so-and-so can only make it on that day. They're flying in from wherever. So who cares? I don't know what the story is behind that. But Vijay, isn't that two different crowds? It's like saying, you know, why did a theme park open that day when there's a tournament? You got two different people. Some people want to go to a roller coaster, and so seminar and you know, competing, two different things.
Well, it's
like,
hard
so
when you have one tournament trying to give competitors and referees a platform, and they have to do a seminar which they're forced to, well, not forced to attend, but they're goaded to attend. You know, that hurts the staffing for the referees. That hurts the number of competitors available for the tournament. You also want to look at provincials December 5th. I understand there's a prominent school holding their annual tournament that day. So a lot of the good competitors won't be provincials, where there'll be trips on the line. So
which is a shame. That's a shame.
It is a shame. So I mean, like, you know, if you know, the trips are wide open now, but then the best competitors aren't there. So it's going to be interesting to see how provincials does this year. And also, for those that don't know, I guess Ontario likes to hold their provincials in kind of remote areas. So this year it's in Peterborough. So what do you think of that location?
I don't even know where that is. Honestly, I've never been. I hear it's in 2 hours north of Toronto, and I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea where it is. I think that's kind of a bad idea. I mean, you know, you have the Worlds and you have the Pans and you have the U.S. Opens. They're all in the same locations every year, right? So people can plan for them, and it's close by big cities and whatnot. But here we jump locations, and you don't get the best guys coming out, and it's unfortunate. Like, you can say, oh, I'm the provincial champion. So for those Americans who are listening, not to say that you don't understand this, but it's like saying you're a state champion, right? So provincial and state, it's the same thing. That's my geography lesson for you. So, but you can't truly say that if the best guys aren't coming out, and the best guys aren't coming out because sometimes they can't make it that far. It's a long drive. Remember, transportation is not easy, right? So it's a bad idea. I don't know. I think the tournament scene here is pretty bad. I don't like it at all. I'm not by any means too good for it. I'm just sick of it because we see the bickering. We're like the parents of we're like the children of divorced parents who are always fighting. Do you know what I mean?
I mean,
I see it.
Yeah, I agree with you. Peterborough's a rough location. It is being held at Trent University, though. So at least BJJers can say they, you know, at least attended a post-secondary for a day. So that is a positive for a lot of them.
Vijay, I think a lot of BJJers are educated. I mean, are they not?
I'd have to check the demographics on that one. It does not appear so with the tournaments I go to, but You know, they're trying. They're living their dreams. What can you say?
Okay, so I just hope, again, guys, remember this is all a joke, right? So if you're
I'm quite serious actually, but one thing I want to touch on, the best
oh,
thing,
shit.
the best BJJ experience I had this summer, or I think I was September, was that ground games. Did you want to just touch on maybe Submission Series Pro, the shows that kind of
Yeah.
didn't work versus Pat Cooligan's
Oh,
show, which did work?
okay. Again, everyone, I believe, is familiar with the submission series. There have been some big names on there. Liera Jr. has been on, I think, twice. Tinoco, I forget his first name, from Marcelo's. What other big names have we flown
Tom
over?
DeBlas they brought in Toronto, Assis they brought
Dad De
in,
Blas,
Edwin
Assis,
Nami.
Edwin Najmi, of course. Sorry, big names. So they come up to Canada and they would do some super fights, and some would get paid, some won't. I don't know, but it depends what their contract says. Who knows? But anyway, so yeah, it sunk. It sunk. It went down, and it was unfortunate because they were doing the right thing. I think they were. I mean, to say that you're going to make money from jiu-jitsu is a weird ambition because
But
I
but
don't
what's
think it'll
frustrating?
happen. But
What's frustrating? You had him on the show, and you were telling him like you can't fly blue belts into Halifax. Not to knock anyone, it's good that they get fly, but you can't fly people in, man.
especially a blue belt. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe a purple belt if you got like a phenom, like a Samson. Oh, he's brown now. But anyway, like those kind of guys, maybe I can understand. But just to fly like blue belts, and I mean, he was just, in my opinion, it was just kind of weird. And the stream was free to begin with, and
Yeah.
I said he should do pay-per-view, and I said he should, get porn stars. Anyway, he didn't listen to my advice, but what do I know? I don't know
Now
anything. But
compare that to Pat Coolian's show, and the man is a genius. You know, well, he had me on the show, so he knows who sells tickets. But what he does,
yeah,
he didn't fly a lot. He didn't fly anyone in. He had a lot of local guys. Brought in a few guys from GTA. The place was packed, 450 people strong. Like it was very
I
indie
saw
wrestling
that.
feel. It was incredible. Like just I
Yeah,
was blown
absolutely.
away.
Absolutely. They had a nice little, it was a raised mat area
Yeah.
surrounded with a lot of chairs. Like you said, it was fully booked. I don't know what the ticket cost was to get in for admission. There was no stream, but they didn't allow recording either. And they would strategically leak the matches every week or so. I
Yeah, I think they're up to
forget now.
7 or 8. They haven't got to the main event yet, which would be myself. But great show, great
Right.
experience. We were treated great. Like that's how you run a super show. You don't blow your budget.
No, you got to start somewhere. And I think that's definitely a good way to go. Like I know the States has a couple things like that in California. They had one, but they're far and few between. Like they don't happen very often. So it's so funny. We have all this ambition here in Ontario, and we're so small in comparison. It's just I don't know what it is. It's still we got a long way to go. But yeah, ground game seems to be doing really well. BJ, are you going to be booked on that one again? Do you think? Or?
Well, unfortunately, the gentleman I fought, Jared, had a bit of an injury, so it sets up for a natural rematch. So if they ask me, if they think it's in February, I would love to do it. But I mean, I understand there's a lot of younger guys that probably could use the platform better than I could. But it'd be an honor to be on the show to to compete against Jared again.
But you do have to admit, though, you do put the tickets. You do sell tickets.
Well, you just try to be a draw and entertain, and it's good to have the two because Jared, medaled the World Masters the past couple of years. I think very, for the top, he's one of the top 40-year-old guys in the world for sure. It's just he's born in the wrong year because I'm 42, so he's just in the wrong age bracket. But he's a hell of a competitor.
VJ, can I just flash back to the Toronto Open really quick? And I was dying laughing when I saw this. When VJ won his first match, who did you face, VJ?
I think
Or what school?
It was a Ribeiro guy, a Garno Lupo, very nice guy. I think he just had a kid actually. Very nice guy. Very nice guy.
So VJ, when you did, now you're technically Ribeiro.
Globetrotter.
But technically you're Ribeiro.
I guess so. This week.
So anyway, by doing what you did, you faced a not a teammate, but I guess an affiliate, right?
Well, I've heard you've had that discussion before. Like, are you really teammates when you're like training across country in the same like affiliation? It's weak.
No, you're not.
Right.
No, you're not. But it hurts the points and it hurts the team and blah blah blah, whatever. So anyway, so VJ, you beat him. I forget what the score. It was a score. It was on points, right?
Oh no, I think it was there was a ninja choke involved, if I recall.
Okay, so you
one of my
tapped
many different submissions I do.
Okay, so you tapped out, and true or false? But you stared down the owner of Toronto BJJ, who you
No,
and
no.
Josh. No, so you and Josh have a friendly back and forth banter. I've been there. I've been in the middle where you guys kind of take jabs at each other. You say this to him. He
No, no,
says
no. True,
it's pretty.
true story. I don't fight with contacts anymore. So when I fought, I didn't have my contacts. So I was looking to a mirror just for some last second coaching after the match, if anything that he could correct me on. So I was just trying to seek out a mirror. I wasn't staring at Josh. It may have
I
appeared so.
thought it looked like you were staring him down.
I was just probably looking for a mirror just to get some, last second critiques.
BJ Amir wasn't near your match. I'm going to be honest with you.
It's very hard with the glasses, to be honest with you.
Okay, all right. But yeah, no, BJ. You know what? This was. I think this was good. I'm not giving you the.
Can I put Josh over?
Oh,
I mean,
sure. Yeah, please.
He put online against Dan Maroney, and one thing I'll say, I've done Miami Open, all over the place I've been, and you see a lot of black belts fighting Master 3, Master 4, Master 5 even. But in Toronto, not too many people do. So for the fact that Dan Maroney and Josh Rapport went out there, fought their division, and the absolute's very admirable. And it's sad more local black belts don't fight. I mean, if you're Masters 4, go out there, man.
Yeah, but you know what though?
Tournament as well, right? But I know if people lose, it's going to affect my. But that's not the case. Look at Fernando. I mean, he, when he does have competitors, he puts it when he's not collecting your free 67 points and a half or whatever. But
you know what? I gotta say, I love how you guys do this. Like, he's gonna sign up to compete, but there's nobody in his division, and he's just gonna do it. Like,
well, he's got a special surprise for him in Montreal. He's got his nemesis from Renzo Gracie coming, so it'll be a good match for sure.
But I hope it happens. Like, I really do. But going up to the black belt, you have to remember, man. Like, a lot of these guys are older, man. Like, they're in their like mid 40s now. And
Master 4, brother.
I know, but remember back then though, the way these guys used to train was like insane. Remember, like they would just train to kill each other in training all the time, and now they're like they can barely walk. I think that's what it is we're training a little smarter this day and age. Like now we got guys drilling 13 move sequences that would never work in real life, but this is how they're training. Whereas back in the 90s, they would just go crazy and like, break this, they'll tape it up, and you know what I mean? I think they were men back then, if I may.
Speaking of which, Amit, can I ask you something that may stick in your craw? You won Pan Ams, I believe.
I did.
You would have been a heavy favorite to win Worlds if you didn't catch an injury.
Yes, I broke my hand, yeah.
So how do these other guys get super fights and they can't win a local GTA match at the GTA Classic, and you're not on a super fight?
I mean, that's a good question. I've never been approached by one. I think I was offered one to fill in last minute on a Thursday, and it was like on a Friday, and I couldn't do that. But no, you know what, VJ? I just let my medals do the talking. I'll just keep winning. Those people who are getting matches and never winning anything, they know what the score is. You know what I mean? Like you go to sleep at night. Like I sleep, I know, like my children know. That's all I do this for. I do it for my kids.
Here's the other question. If you get a brown belt or a purple and haven't beat anyone at that belt, are you a brown belt?
I think if you don't compete at that belt, you're not a brown belt. Because I can't say, I mean, you could just lose, man. Like people don't know. When I first got my purple belt, like I won like a small tournament, and then I lost the next 5 in a row. And I kept going, but like imagine I stopped. Like you know what I mean? Like I'm sure there's other people out there who have that string of luck too. Like.
Well, you're in a very tough bracket. I know the gentleman you're talking about.
Yeah, but like I said, is that like I know obviously that's where you're leading to, but you should be able to win one, man. Like you should be able to be one guy. Yeah. You should.
Now, what do you think about the guys that go to World Masters, say, and they barely train and they get smashed here? Like, do you applaud them for at least trying like a bucket list type of thing, or they're just wasting their time?
So look, there's 2 types of people who do Worlds or Master Worlds or Pans or whatever. Okay, there's those who want to go for the experience, and admittedly so. Me, when I did Adult Worlds, I had really no business to go there. I was not feeling myself. I was hurt and whatever, but I did it for the experience, and it was cool, fun, So there's those people, and then there's the people who are legit and are going to win it, right? So. What I'm seeing lately, truthfully, I'm seeing a lot of guys going there who are not winning a local event here. you really have no business, in my opinion, unless you're going for the experience. If you're going for the Facebook likes, if you're going for that,
well, here's the thing that bugs me. Like,
then go for it.
guys go, they get smashed, they post about losing, and then they get like 50 million likes, and oh, I'm gonna revamp my game. It's like, oh my god, you got smashed. Why are you posting?
I agree, but you know what? Like, people, can I be honest? Can I be honest? People like it when you lose. Okay? Don't think that anybody likes it when you win. Do you when people see you on a podium, yeah, they'll hit the like button for you. Congrats, VJ.
Yeah.
But in reality, man, they want you to lose. Nobody wants to see you do better than them. That's a fact.
So you think that's a subculture in BJJ? You want people to do not better than you?
Absolutely. And maybe your coach would want you to, but I would even say that's about it, because your teammates, they're not the ones who are getting the praise for winning this, that, and the other thing, you know? They don't care. Do you think that if your teammate goes with you and competes and he goes one and done and you win, you think he's happy for you? I don't think so. I mean, that's just not the case.
Can we shout out some of the legends of World Masters? I think Jason Palmer made history.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to Jay. That's legit. And I want to say, you know, I was going to write him. I was going to write him this message, but I'll say it. I'll say it here. But like, you're going to hear a lot of people maybe talking, saying, "Oh, I beat him here and I beat him there and whatever." But the fact is this: when it mattered, when it absolutely mattered, like when it's the Super Bowl, he won it. You can't take that away from him.
Here's why I put over Jason Palmer. He got smashed at Ontario Open. He went to the New York Summer Open, got smashed. He voluntarily trains with Tom McMahon every day and gets smashed. Did he cry? Did he whine? Did he quit? No, he just goes back, works on his game, and when it was Super Bowl day, I mean, he won a lot of matches too. Was it 4 or 5? Like, that's a lot.
I think it was 5. Yeah, I think it was 5.
He didn't sneak like a two-win gold. Like, he legit, man. So hats off to him, and you know, he should definitely be brown belt. I'd imagine they're having a grading soon. I think Patricia Vandermeer, another local legend.
Yeah, absolutely. One gold.
I think Plus again. Well, the great Brian Beauchamp, but that'd be a whole episode going over all his accolades. But just a historic performance, man. If you guys didn't see the feed, he beat Chris Hawther. I mean, he just fought so well, and we're lucky enough to train with him, and just to see how he trains on a day-to-day basis. I mean, there's definitely a champion mindset you don't see in everybody.
No, absolutely, and that, like I said, that's the difference between those tournaments and like a local tournament. Like for me, there's look at me, I think I'm like, I know what I'm talking about, but I don't. But it's just a different thing. Like you got a lot more on the line. Like I flew now. Now I'm like a lot of you local guys. You just go to the Walter Pyramid. It's just an hour drive for you. Like I'm flying. I'm paying like all this money, like $1,000 or whatever it is, with hotels and rental and all that. So it's a different thing. So like I said, for everybody who won the World Masters or the Pans or whatever tournament you may have won, like that's a big deal. And like I said, yeah, maybe you lost at a local friggin' nothing tournament, but so what? Like obviously that's not the big deal. The big deal is shining. So, but yeah, I just want to go back to the whole winning thing, BJ. I really want to emphasize, like I want people to know that nobody cares if you win, okay? And it's a shame because the only people in this world who want to see you succeed are your parents. I'm going to say that too. Like you think that
not even your kids, eh?
Maybe your kids, they don't know what's going on, right? But I'm just saying that if you're going to become a doctor and you're going to make 400,000 US or whatever it is, your peers aren't necessarily going to be happy and excited for you. It's going to be your parents. And it's I don't know where I was going with the fact that I don't think people like that you. Do you know what I mean, VJ? Like people like it when you lose.
Well, we're distinguished fans. Like George Brittle, for example, won Worlds at Black Belt Masters 2. I think we're talking. He's probably the only Canadian Black Belt World Champion at that level. Like no one's won below Masters 2. I don't think in Canadian history or Ontario history, right? I don't think so.
I don't know, but still, that's a huge accomplishment.
It's a huge accomplishment for sure.
He did it at Pans as well.
Yeah.
You know, so but yeah, but like I said, I'm just saying you brought up the fact that people lose a match, and this all started from the whole Super Fight thing.
Yes.
And people lose a match and they post, well, didn't go my way today, ... back to the drawing board.
Yes.
Sad face. It's like, okay, so
well, I know you're a big fan of the Masters only training sessions. Can you comment just on your thoughts?
So let me get into this. So in Ontario, and I hate starting a sentence with in Ontario, because it just shows you it's not going to be a good thing. Okay, so we had this thing where people were getting together and saying it's a masters only training, so which is cool. I guess you all have the same mindset going in and whatever, but I just didn't see the point of it. I rather train with people who would like really destroy me, like the young guns who are like, you know, just killing it, right? Like you want to go with them. You don't want to go necessarily with, no offense, but to older people like myself, like, you know what I mean? Like, why would I want to train with another 38-year-old when I can train with like a young, hungry, you know, 23-year-old or something like that? You know what I mean? Like that's who will get you better. But you know what though, VJ, we got some world champions out of it. So what the hell do I know, right? I mean, we did get 2 world champions out of it.
We did, and you know, unfortunately, to a lot of injuries. So it also shows like when you're a master guy, you can't just be going hard like a 25-year-old
No.
for a month before a tournament because you think so. It's got to be consistent. Like with my training, I'm very consistent, right? Twice a week at lunch, only roll with selective white belts. So my training's been very steady the past 4 years. And you know, despite the injuries I have, I mean, I've been relatively injury-free this year, except for the one. But you know, you got to pace yourself, right?
I do think that's amazing that you do as well as you do, considering that A, you never do technique, and B, you literally roll with white belts. Literally.
Well, yeah, I mean, like I said, just self-conservation. Like I believe you're rolling with a lot of those some very tough guys at your union hall in Kitchener, right?
Yeah, I want to actually give them a shout out. So shout out to the guys at Joey's Open Mat. So it's a bunch of tough Kitchener guys, Kitchener, Ontario. If you look it up.
What local is that?
No, VJ, it's not a union thing. We're not union. VJ keeps saying I'm union. It's not a union thing. We're just
okay.
But they're good guys, man. They give me tough training, and they really help me out. So hopefully I'll turn it up a little bit more for the Europeans, and then we'll see how that goes.
Are we gonna do a quick like in memorandum segment for some of the brown belts? Like say Patrick O'Halloran, he had a great career. Maybe we relive some of these guys' competition career. I mean, he had a great run before he retired.
He's coming back, man. If you're watching, if he's watching, he'll be back for the provincials, man. I believe so.
2018,
you know.
17?
No, for this year.
Really, this year? Oh, Peterborough.
Yeah. I think
I'll
he'll
have
be
to check
able.
the registration list. I didn't see him on there, but okay.
Yeah. Well, look there. But yeah. I don't know. Is there anybody else you want to call out who doesn't compete, or?
Well, it's just there'd be a long list of brown belts that you just disappeared. And it's a shame. I mean, I like I said, I wish more brown belts would compete. But I think we're getting there. I mean, we're still growing. But you feel though there's just too many tournaments, less competitors now?
That's all it is, man. Seriously, like a lot of these brown belts and stuff are saving it for New York and for Boston, especially those are not far from us. Honestly, that's just all it is. IBJJF has no business in Canada. It's just the numbers prove it. If anybody can prove me wrong with numbers, by all means. But 200 people here, 180 there. That's not. That's just not. It's a shame. It's a shame because I love the IBJJF. I really like what they do, but we just don't have the numbers, man. That's all it is.
Right. So now going forward, like what's the thought with the podcast? What's the long-term plan here?
Well, I mean, honestly, and I hate to say this, but I don't like booking guests that are like big names. I know a lot of people are like, oh, you should get this guy and that guy. But what people don't know is that a lot of them are full of themselves. And, you know, I like the local guys we get on. Like, I mean, shout out to Thomas Beach. I really, really like that episode. Guys like that, you know, who are, you know, who will tell you everything. Their life's an open book. Even Robert Cosmo, Consul
Yes.
Whatever, I forget. Anyway, very good guests. You know, guys like that who been put through some things. Not somebody who, you know, who's got a last name that got him in and he just talks and gives us attitude when we're trying to book him. Like, I don't need any of that. So
because I think in the end you're just trying to help local talent.
I really am, man. I don't really care. I don't have BJJ idols. Like, I don't like, oh my God, my dream is to meet Hickson. Not really. If I met him, it'd be cool. I'd take a picture with him, get some likes on Facebook, but he's not my idol by any means. I don't have many idols, and it's definitely not anybody in Jiu-Jitsu.
But just to put a couple guys over, like I think guys like Nathan DeSantos and Dave Primus, I mean, I think it's just a shame they're not bigger names because they're just tremendous talents, and I think they're going to do a lot of damage at Worlds if they're both healthy and can do it. So I think guys like that, this is a perfect platform to get their story out, get them recognized.
And you know what? Those are the kind of guys that I would have on. Like if you look at who I've had just from Toronto BJJ alone, like I've had Alessandro, Roman Camargo, I've had Thomas Beach, Eric Fan, Darson Hemmings. I don't know if I'm missing anybody else, but those are good episodes. And you know, these are like highly, like really good. Oh, Dinas, sorry, number 5.
Oh, for sure.
So a lot of good competitors, local guys who do really well internationally, which is pretty damn impressive considering how small we are compared to the rest of the world, right? So, but yeah, like that's kind of where I'm doing it. That's where the direction I'd like to go.
So if you're a good local competitor, they should hit you up, set up something, and, you know, try something new. Show up when you say you're going to show up for the hour.
Yeah.
And plug your wares. That's what it's all about. Get your name out there. Get your story out there.
Absolutely. And BJ, like I said, if you ever, like, you know, I say you should come on because I think you have some hard-hitting questions to ask some of these young guys as well.
Well, Ahmed, I'm always here, and if you want to give me a platform, I'll always be glad to use it.
It's all about the platform, BJ. Thank you very much for joining me.
Hey, thanks for having me on, and it was a pleasure getting this back on again.
Okay, guys, that's a wrap. That's number 68. Just a note, we did stop the audio only. There was a lot of downloads of it, but a lot of it was, I believe, spam. So anyway, we stopped that. We're sticking with video only. We're not editing it, so whatever is said is said. And if people like it, hey man, like people are asking about it, so check it out. And if it fizzles away, whatever. But yeah, reach out to me if you'd like to be on and have a name for yourself amongst our huge sprawling community. I'm all about the community.
Yeah. And last thing, I just want to shout out, if anyone has any personal training questions, please hit up my friend Seth Quiring, one of the best personal trainers out there.
How do you spell his last name?
Quiring. But he's
hit him up.
He's a big presence on Facebook, but he's a personal training icon.
Vijay, just before we go, really quick, how come anybody can be a personal trainer?
It is odd. Like, you know, guys read a Flex magazine, live for 2 months, and they can, hey, it's a wonderful country.
Right.
People pay them for advice after listening for 2 months. It's great.
But Vijay, a lot of them don't even have a bicep vein. Or abs.
Or any chest separation, any type of shoulder cuts. But I mean, it's a different generation, right? In our day, Ahmed, 10,000 hours to be an expert. Now it's 10?
Now it's like a weekend course at Good Life.
I think so.
So
guys can't bench their weight, but I mean, hey, you know, like I say, people pay them. God bless them.
Yeah, man. So what a time to be alive. Thank you very much, everybody. Take care.